Hello and welcome to Raju Notes channel, your pit stop for weekly current affairs updates. The updates tailor-made for students taking all kinds of competitive exams like UPSC, civils, defense and placement interviews. Please subscribe to the channel and stay updated every Sunday. As the war between Israel and terrorist outfit Hamas entered the 15th day, a massive block shook the Gaza church yesterday. Earlier today, the Israeli Air Force struck hundreds of operational targets of Hamas terrorist group. It killed one terrorist in the Gaza Strip. Senior Israeli officials have spoken about the prospects of an imminent large-scale ground offensive of Gaza Strip to eliminate Hamas. Israeli Defense Force Minister Yoav Gallant told soldiers near Gaza that order to enter Palestine enclave would be given soon. As per the agreement made earlier this week, a limited amount of aid is being allowed into Gaza. But the only road into Gaza is bomb damaged and dangerous. Egyptians diggers are trying to repair the Rafah crossing as 20 trucks are poised to cross the border. As the conflict escalates, more than 1,400 Israelis have died since the Hamas assault began. In Gaza, the death toll has risen to 3,785. Meanwhile, 2 American Israeli hostages were released by Hamas terror outfit on Friday amid intense diplomatic efforts to ease tensions in the Middle Eastern conflict and deliver humanitarian aid to civilians. The mother and your daughter were abducted in a terror attack on southern Israel on 7th of October. The Government of India plans to launch One Nation, One Student ID called Automated Permanent Academic Account Registry or APAR for every school student, the Times of India reported. The APAR ID will be treated as a lifelong identification number to track students' academic journey and achievements. APAR and National Credit Framework NCRF will be the new QR code for learners, AICTE Chairman TG Sitaraman said. The Supreme Court refused to tweak the Special Marriage Act to legalize the same marriage on Tuesday this week. The court also refused to strike down Section 4 of the law to allow a non-heterosexual couple to marry under the law. A 5-judge bench led by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud agreed with the centre's view that tinkering with the law could have cascading effects on other laws. The other members of the bench were Justice S.K. Kaul, Ravindra Bhatt, Hema Kohli and P.S. Narasimha. The bench was unanimous in its ruling on not modifying or reading into the act to allow same-sex marriage in the country. The court advised the central government to set up a high-powered committee headed by a cabinet secretary to address the concerns of same-sex couples, including ration cards, pension, gratuity and succession. The Central Bureau of Investigation (CBI) conducted searches at 76 locations across multiple states regarding 5 separate cases as part of Operation Chakra 2. The Operation Chakra is aimed at combating and dismantling infrastructure of organized crime-enabled financial crimes in India. The CBI conducted it jointly with national and international agencies and a private sector giants. The central agency froze numerous bank accounts and seized devices including mobile phones, laptops and hard disks, images of servers, SIM cards and pen drives. The CBI will share the details of the case with the International Law Enforcement Agency including the FBI, Interpol, NCA in UK, Singapore Police and BKA of Germany to combat organized crime. The Indian government has permitted the export of 95,000 tons of non-basmati white rice to Nepal. Earlier, there were export curbs imposed on July 20 in view of a domestic demand for the rice in India, and only basmati rice could be imported by Nepal from India. The quota privilege has been granted to export 1.3 million tons of non-basmati white rice to 7 countries which are Nepal, Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Malaysia, Philippines and Seychelles through National Cooperatives Export Limited of India. The quantity notified for Nepal is 95,000 tons. To discourage the import of non-basmati rice in August, India levied a 20% export duty on non-basmati white rice. This export grant is expected to ease pressure on the local grain market. Nepal has been importing rice and paddy from India in a huge quantities for the past decade to compensate for the food deficit. After the ultimatum from India amid a diplomatic row between India and Canada over the murder of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, Ottawa withdrew 41 diplomats from India, Canada's Foreign Ministry Melina Joly said. She added that the 41 diplomats and their 42 dependents face the danger of having their immunity stripped. Earlier, New Delhi said that there should be parity regarding the diplomatic presence. US and UK supported Canada after expulsion, stating, "We are concerned and don't agree with the decision taken by India." India earlier had rejected that it had violated the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations. India's first Rapid-X train under Regional Rapid Transit System (RRTS) from Sahibabad in Uttar Pradesh was inaugurated on 20th October by Prime Minister. He also dedicated the nation 2 stretches of east-west corridor of Bengaluru Metro. The RRTS is a state-of-the-art regional mobility solution comparable to the best in the world. The inauguration section of RRTS corridor will cover the distance of 17 kilometers connecting Sahibabad to Duhai Depot. The trains will run at a speed of 160 to 180 kilometers per hour at an interval of 15 minutes. The Rapid-X train has 6 coaches with a capacity to carry about 1,700 commuters. 1 coach has been reserved for women passengers. Johnson & Johnson has developed an experimental pill against dengue that has shown promising results in human trials. The pill was able to protect against a form of the virus in several patients. The drug worked by blocking the actions of 2 viral proteins and stops the virus from making itself a copy. The third stealth destroyer of Project 15B class guided missile destroyer Imphal was handed over to the Indian Navy by Mazagon Dock Shipbuilders Limited in Mumbai today. It is constructed using indigenous steel DMR 249A with an overall length of 164 meters and the displacement of 7,500 tons. The destroyer is among the largest destroyer constructed in the country. The ship is a potent platform capable of undertaking a variety of tasks and missions spanning the full spectrum of maritime warfare. It can accommodate a crew of 312 persons, has an endurance of 4,000 nautical miles and carry up to a typical 42 days mission with an extended mission time in out-of-area operation. The Imphal has been delivered to the Indian Navy more than 4 months ahead of its contractual time. United States stock market declined yesterday amidst worries over rising US Treasury yield and the Israel-Hamas war potentially growing into a wider conflict in Middle East. Further, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said additional rate hikes could be warranted in view of economic resilience and labor market tightness. The statement of Federal Reserve Chairman increased risk aversion among the traders. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 0.8%. The S&P 500 lost 0.9% and the Nasdaq Composite declined around 1%. Asian shares also plummeted a fresh 11 months low throughout the day as fear of regional conflicts in the Middle East intensified and as a relentless rise of long-term US yield pressures variations while supplying concerns lifted for the oil prices further. South Korea's Kospi lost 1.7%, Japan's Nikkei fell 0.6%, Singapore's Straits Times Index slipped 0.7%, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index decreased by 0.7%. The Indian Space Agency has emerged victorious after testing the crucial crew escape system of its rockets Gaganyaan today. The demonstration of the TVD-1 mission was conducted successfully as the Space Agency is on its way to a manned space mission in 2025 and an unmanned mission next year. The objective of Gagan mission is to test the vehicle, crew escape and crew module. Gaganyaan was successfully launched at 10 am after 9 minutes. The mission crew module successfully splashed into the Bay of Bengal, 10 kilometers away from Sriharikota. The Indian Navy was stationed at the destined place for the recovery of the module. The module was retrieved by naval divers and taken to the naval ship. It will be brought to the Madras harbour on Saturday. Dr. Somnath said that the launch was scheduled originally at 8 am and later rescheduled for 8:30 am due to a weather-related issue. He said that the launch sequence was put on hold by the computer and later it was found to be a monitoring anomaly. The chairman said that they had refilled the gases and checked the health of the vehicle, after which the launch process was restarted at 10 am. Mr. Somnath said the comeback was made as fast as possible. He said the entire team was prepared for the Gaganyaan launch in future. And now for the segment where we see the events that unfolded itself this week back in history. 15th October 1959, Final Conference on Antarctic Treaty. On this day in 1959, a final conference on the Antarctic Treaty convened in Washington, D.C., and after 6 weeks of negotiations, the treaty was signed by 12 countries, preserving the continent for free scientific study. 16th October 1793, Marie Antoinette guillotined. After the French Revolution began, Marie Antoinette, Queen Consort of Louis XVI, was targeted by agitators who, enraged by her extravagance and attempts to save the monarchy, ultimately guillotined her on this day in 1793. 17th October 1979, Mother Teresa awarded Nobel Prize. On this day in 1979, Mother Teresa, founder of Roman Catholic Order of Women, dedicated to the poor and particularly to the destitutes of India, was named the recipient of that year's Nobel Peace Prize. 18th October 1867, Alaska Purchase approved. After much opposition, a deal negotiated by US Secretary of State William Stewart for the US purchase of a Russian colony of Alaska was approved. And on this day in 1867, the US flag was flown over the capital, Sitka. 19th October 1781, surrender of Lord Cornwallis. On this day in 1781, British Lord Cornwallis surrendered at Yorktown, Virginia, handing a huge victory to American General George Washington and effectively ending the American Revolution and assuring America's independence. 20 October 1973, opening of Sydney Opera House. Australia's Sydney Opera House, designed by Danish architect John Utzon, whose dynamic, imaginative but problematic plan won an international competition in 1957, was opened by Queen Elizabeth II on this day in 1973. 21st October 1520, Magellan's discovery of gateway to circumnavigating the globe. On this day in 1520, explorer Ferdinand Magellan and 3 Spanish ships entered the strait later named for him, sailing between the mainland tip of South America and the island of Terra del Fuego towards the Pacific Ocean.
Well, that's all, friends, for this week's updates. See you soon next Sunday on the same channel. Till then, take care. Bye bye.